হ্যালো, শোনা যায়? হ্যালো, 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 এটাই মেন সাউন্ড।
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. But I'm not sure if you heard, but
I hear something on repeat. Okay.
Good morning. I'm not sure if you heard, but
We're good. I hear something on repeat. I hear something on repeat. I hear myself on repeat. Would we we have it all set? I hear something on repeat. I hear myself on repeat. Would we have it all set? We're good to go? Well,
And station, this is Houston ACR. Please stand by. The client's having a technical issue. They'll be with you in just a second. Station, this is Houston ACR. Please stand by. The client's having a technical issue. They'll be with you in just a second.
okay.
And Houston ACR, we copy.
Thank you.
And Houston ACR, we copy.
I can hear you, Greg, yes. This is Jen Carfagno. Okay, perfect. Expedition 69, flight engineer Steve Bowen and
the private ones, it's just a very busy place. So we've already had since I've only been here 6 months, we've had basically 2 cargo vehicles come up, a Axiom crew come up. We've got rid of 2 other vehicles, sent them back. So it's a very, very busy place here in the International Space Station, and it's very exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, Frank, let's talk about your ISS travel story, because your ride home in March was canceled and you found out that you would be staying for a full year. Talk about a travel delay. How did you feel about getting that news?
Well, it's kind of like when you stay at a hotel and you find out that you get a free night. Except this was a 6-month stay. So no, it was a challenge from a personal level, from my family's point of view. But otherwise, in some ways, it's been a blessing in disguise in that I've gotten to fly with more crews. I've gotten a lot more experience, and so hopefully I'll be able to contribute back to the long-term mission in a much better way because of it.
And probably set a record while you're at it. Steve, let's talk return to the moon and journey to Mars. Is research now on the ISS geared towards those missions?
Well, a lot of the engineering that we do up here, the systems that we have on board will help us continue to stay longer in orbit, and also the real goal is to improve life on Earth. So a lot of what we do has those dual roles. Some of the systems we have on board will definitely make exploration a lot easier when we get to the moon and even on to Mars. So our oxygen, how we maintain our life support systems, the cooling, the heating, all that stuff that we have on board the ISS right now really is another step toward making our exploration goals easier to achieve.
Yeah, you mentioned the discoveries on the ISS helping us on Earth, and that's always really neat to hear. Frank, what are some of the more recent discoveries that we're able to use here on Earth?
All zeros on 2 of them, and if you've got...
Yeah, well, just this morning, actually, I was working on some plants that we've noted that as plants adapt to the microgravity environment, they have some genetic adaptations. And so we're looking at whether those genetic adaptations can be transferred on to subsequent generations. And so these plants are a part of that study. While I've been here, we've also looked at producing such things as fiber optic cable, and whether doing that in a microgravity environment will lead to a much better product. We're also working on things like 3D printing tissues. We're starting off with real simple tissues like meniscus, but as we work the different processes for that, someday we might be able to even produce entire organs in this environment, and because of the lack of gravity, it can lead to much better and much more effective organs.
Wow, tremendous. I do want to ask you about looking back at Earth, and in particular, the pretty active year that we've had. What are you thinking and what are you observing when you see things like the wildfires that recently happened in Hawaii and the smoke that has been happening over Canada? Steve, we'll go to you first.
It's always been interesting to look out the windows, just see the Earth and see the clouds and the Earth, the continents, etc. Weather in particular is always amazing to watch. This summer, seeing the smoke coming out of Canada and going across New York, and then the barrier that kind of kept New England clean for a little bit. It's just amazing to watch how the Earth responds to all this, and seeing the hurricanes, the fires. Haven't caught any volcanoes this time. Had an oil spill last time, so there's a lot of things you can see up here that are just dramatic parts of the news.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Steve Bowen and Frank Rubio, it's so excited to have gotten the opportunity to talk with you there on the International Space Station. Appreciate it. Enjoy your mission, and thank you very much for what you're doing.
Jen, it's been our pleasure, and thanks so much. Take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Weather Channel portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from KPRC.
Okay, very comfortable. Hello. Okay. I know. See, I have to figure out how to position myself on it. Okay. I don't know. I hate this chair.
You want the white one?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
You want the tall one or the little one?
What's that? I don't care. Whatever.
Hi, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Evan, can you repeat, please? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so hold on. Is that more? More? Ray, you tell me.
I think it's good. The camera's too low.
Camera's too low. Can you?
And Station ACR, Station, this is Houston ACR. Please stand by. The client's having a technical issue. They'll be with you in just a second.
Sorry, guys. Okay,
Houston ACR, we copy. We all hear them talk, just not to us.
Welcome back. About 6 months ago, a crew of 7 astronauts and cosmonauts launched to the International Space Station. Aboard the ISS, the Expedition 69 crew conducted experiments that focus on biology, earth science, and human research. And joining us from inside the ISS with the best out of this world view, flight engineer Stephen Bowen and Frank Rubio. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here in Houston.
Hey, Lisa, good morning and welcome to the International Space Station. It's an honor to talk to you.
Oh, likewise. Honor is all ours here at KPNC2. Thanks for taking the time. We'll jump right into this. How would you guys describe your mission over the past several months in terms of both challenges and what you guys have enjoyed there?
Yeah, so I'll start. I would say it's been extremely exciting and incredibly busy. We've had lots of spacewalks, a lot of maintenance, lots of science. And so, yeah, every day we have lots of work for each of us to do. But it also makes the time pass quickly. And it's also exciting to be a part of this incredible team that's contributing to the benefit of humanity and lots of discoveries that we're making up here slowly but surely that will hopefully help our life back on Earth.
Absolutely. And Stephen, let's talk about the spacewalks. And I love how the microphone's just floating between y'all. That's fantastic. You both have been on spacewalks. Stephen, what do those entail? And why are spacewalks so critical to the overall mission here?
Well, the International Space Station was actually designed to utilize spacewalks to build it and also to maintain it. And that's where we're at now for the most part. We're maintaining and improving the systems outside when we can, or if there's a failure, we can go outside and repair them. But a spacewalk is not a simple thing. It starts with usually months and months of planning and defining the choreography for the spacewalk itself. And then we train it. In the shuttle days, we would literally train that spacewalk. We don't have the luxury on the ISS. So a lot of these procedures that we're seeing parts of for the first time. And so we have to assemble the choreography up here. And the team on the ground and the team up here, it's an amazing thing to watch as everything comes together and we're able to execute these incredibly complicated maintenance and improvement tasks.
Yeah, and Frank, you are going to hold the record for time spent in space here. You all spent a year when you finally returned home, if I'm not mistaken. What does your research and your overall experience mean for long-term space travel?
There's only a handful of us who have been here this long. And as we transition to exploration deeper and deeper into space, humans are going to be traveling in this environment for much longer. And so it's really important to see how we adapt, how our bodies respond to this environment, to study that and see how we can optimize our performance up here so that when we arrive at the moon and then hopefully in the near future to Mars and then onward, so that we can still perform the jobs we need to do to perform the science, to do the maintenance that we need to do as astronauts in those different places in our solar system.
And Frank, can I ask you, how has your body responded to being in space for this duration? Have you noticed any changes?
Yeah, a little bit. So far I think it's responded pretty well. Obviously, some of the major ones are you get some major fluid shifts because of the lack of gravity. A lot of the fluid that you would normally hold in your legs comes up to your upper body. So in a way, you get rid of some of the wrinkles that you might see because of the extra fluid in your face. But otherwise, our trainers do an amazing job of keeping us in shape up here. We do about 2 hours of exercise every day, and that's a lot of that resistance training in particular is to maintain the bone strength that we would otherwise lose. A lot of our bone density is due to the fact that we're just standing and walking in our day-to-day activities back on Earth, and we don't have that here. And so we use that resistance training to make up for that impact. On the flip side, it's really important to maintain cardiovascular health, and so we'll do anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes of either cardio on a treadmill or on a stationary bike to maintain our heart health.
It's fascinating. It really is. I know you guys have been on a media blitz here lately, not only talking to reporters, but also to school-age kids from all over. So what's that been like, talking with them about your experience? And I'm also curious about the questions they've had for you guys.
It's always a pleasure to talk to students and see their excitement. Every child is excited about space exploration and the importance of our STEM fields and keeping the kids interested in that and making sure that everybody understands that that's really how we develop a better future, is to ensure that we have the next generations of researchers and scientists and engineers and explorers to really carry forth mankind from where we are right now.
Frank, do you have any questions from the younger kids that stick out in your mind?
Well, just yesterday, actually, I was talking to a group of kids, military families and their kids, younger kids. I thought I had the two best questions I've had yet. One of them was if I'd seen a T-Rex in space, and unfortunately I had to say no to that one. And then as I was talking about how beautiful the oceans are, one of the little girls asked if I had seen any mermaids from up here. So again, both negative answers, but I just thought it was wonderful to hear their imagination and their curiosity.
I'm glad you answered.
Fantastic. We watch you here from Earth, and we are in awe of what you do, what you've accomplished. Are there moments for you guys when even for you, this all seems surreal to some extent?
And Lisa, I am so sorry. We couldn't quite understand that last question. Could you please repeat?
Yes, of course, of course. We're just talking about how we here on Earth are so in awe of what you've accomplished. Are there times when you're on board the ISS and all of this seems surreal for anyone on board, what you've accomplished and what you're staring at as you're out in space?
Well, I think sometimes it's we do our best to try and communicate what we see and how we feel, and how this impacts how we feel in the broader sense. And I do think that we've done a pretty good job over the past 60 years of communicating that from NASA, from exploration. But it has to continue because not everybody believes you. But the world of space is opening up to so many people, and at some point it will probably become reasonable for people to come up here, even as a tourist. I prefer everybody comes up here as a scientist and researcher, and but someday we'll be there.
I'm sorry, Stephen, I interrupted you. I know we're getting close to the end of the interview here, but for both of you, what are you looking forward to most when you finally return home?
Yeah, so we'll both be going home within the next month or two. And, I think the most exciting part is obviously seeing our loved ones and then just being around our friends. But I think for me in particular, it's going to be getting to be outside. I've been kind of cooped up inside for about a year now. I had the chance to do 3 spacewalks, but they were early on in my mission. And so, I'm really looking forward to being outside and just smelling the grass and being out in the trees and maybe hopefully getting a few hikes in the mountains.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we certainly appreciate your service and your dedication. Flight Engineer Stephen Bowen and Frank Rubio, thank you for your time from all of us here in Houston.
And it's great talking to you, and always a pleasure. And we're looking forward to getting back to Houston soon ourselves.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you to all participants from the Weather Channel and KPRC station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.
I hear you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear as well. So let's start with, you know, you're going to break a record, and I know records are made to be broken, but how significant is this record in terms of what we learn about human beings and our endurance for long-term space travel?
Well, hey, Gina, good morning, and welcome back. It's great to have you with us on the International Space Station once again. You know, it's an honor to be able to be considered one of the people that's going to have spent a year in space. And so, yeah, for sure, this record will soon be broken again, and that's great because that means we're continuing to press forward. And I think this is really significant in the sense that it teaches us that the human body can endure, it can adapt, and as we prepare to push back to the moon and then from then onward onto hopefully Mars and further on in the solar system, I think it's really important that we learn just how the human body learns to adapt and how we can optimize that process so that we can improve our performance as we explore further and further out from Earth.
As a physician, what changes have you noticed in your body? I knew some astronauts that they got taller in space. Did you sleep better? Did you sleep worse? I mean, how have you documented your year in space for yourself physically?
Yeah, you know, we actually just measured ourselves the other day for our return trip because you got to make sure you still fit in your spacesuit, your pressure suit, and your seat in the Soyuz. And
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Weather Channel, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
You roll back up to the beginning? Okay. Station, this is